Beloved, Jesus is the way and the truth and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but through him. In this video, I want to talk about many of the strongholds that are in place at the moment. And I want you to understand that a stronghold isn't actually founded or grounded in any real law. In fact, in order for a stronghold to be presented, it must mislead people as to their interpretation of law. That's what it tries to do. And what I mean by that is that has been historically the case. That is their form. That is what they do. They give the facade that amendments have or can even take place to contradict or largely make void the integrity of our constitution as a country, or any constitution of any country. So what they do is they simply, by vote of the populace, bring about changes or amendments to how the constitution is perceived. They don't actually change the constitution because that can't be effected. So they convince people that the amendments that they're purporting exist, because they don't actually exist. Like, for example, if somebody turned around tomorrow to you and said, I've just signed your right to life away. You said, what? You can't do that. They might say, why? What would you answer? What would you answer? What would be your answer? Well, first of all, it's my life. Where would your mind go? What have I done to you? Why would you want to take my life away? It's my life. It's protected. It would be murder, wouldn't it? You can't kill me. That would be murder. You can't take my right to life away in the Constitution. That's preposterous. Okay, well, we won't do that to you. But what we'll do is we'll attack the most vulnerable human beings and take their life away. Yeah. This might mean that you could sleep with as many women as you want at the weekend. How does that appeal to your flesh? And then you don't have to become a father or any responsibility like that. That's too much responsibility for anybody, really, isn't it? That kind of line. So we see that if you actually carry out the amendments to their logical conclusion, they're an attack on the Constitution, not an augmentation of it, not an improvement of it, but an attack on it. And the aspects of it that have been proven to be good for society. That's as simply as I could put it. Without getting into all the legal terms. I say, yeah, but the baby's just a clump of cells. Like, people, you'd be surprised how many people say that to me on the street after they ask me what I think about this or that or the other thing. And often I'll bring the topic of abortion into public heralding because the general population are exposed to such things as Netflix and soap operas and other things of that nature that really all they're designed to do is promote in advance what they intend to amend in the Constitution. They're just trying to affect your vote. Or even if they weren't truly counting the votes, but were just going to give you the impression that something was voted in, that they would at least want you to believe that others may have actually voted it in. So that if they didn't vote it in, at least there was the possibility they did. And then you've no way of actually counting that yourself. But you know that it's possible that some might have said yes to it. there's even one around you who says, yeah, no, I'm pro-abortion, well then why would you ever doubt the counting of the vote? Unless you doubted who's counting it. But what I'm saying to you is all they're doing, it's like all they're doing is giving you prior exposure to and desensitizing you to the notion that it might be possible that people would actually think that murdering the baby in the womb is a good idea pervasively, or in the majority. But my point to you is this: the Constitution was put there by our forefathers to protect us against such misuse of media, to deceive the next generations, our children, and raise them up into worldviews that and views of each other that are destructive by nature. Because the constitution of any country is supposed to be reasonable and harmless first. Is it harmless to kill a baby in the womb? No, but what about this? But what about this? They're things you can control. They're things you can put money and effort into improving before you start slaughtering babies in the womb. Slaughtering babies in the womb is never acceptable by law. And when I say before, I mean they're things you can do totally unrelated to the murdering of the baby in the womb. But people would, because of the media exposure, think, let's jump straight to murdering the baby in the womb. Because they have you deceived. I'm totally against murder of the preborn. And so is the law of this land, Ireland. You might say, no, they had the pro-abortion referendum. Why was it called the pro-abortion referendum? Was it called that? Why was it called the pro-abortion referendum? If it was called the pro-abortion referendum, that's not an unbiased title. So now you're seeing they had all their arrows, all their guns pointed at, all their media campaigns pointed at the baby in the womb and its destruction. But we see that the right to life of the preborn baby is one that is imprescriptible. You simply cannot write it out of the Constitution. And it doesn't even need to be written into the Constitution. It's by default an antecedent right, which means that it was a right afforded the baby in the womb prior to the formation of the country of Ireland, or prior to the formation of any country. It's self-evident that the living creature in the womb has the right to life by any reasonable measure. And that it's not harmful to pull their heads and legs off. And therefore that should not become common practice or be encouraged. But it has been. And so media has actually been used unlawfully. And I want to bring your attention to that. Beasts and devils have misused media. Pigs and wolves have misused media to ill effect. And I'll show you. Just have to find that legislation is here somewhere. This is in Personal Rights, Article 40. Are you listening? The right of the citizens to express freely their convictions and opinions. Now listen to the next portion very carefully. The education of public opinion being, however, a matter of such grave import. Now, why is it of such grave import? Well, for all of the reasons aforementioned. They can bring an entire nation, the entire earth, with enough media power and pull. Make the TVs bigger, boys. Make them higher definition. Make it more colourful and dramatic and musical. Get them in those rooms, sitting down. Get them on lockdown and looking at the TV. Excuse me. Get them on their devices. Screen time, screen time. The education of public opinion being, however, a matter of such grave import. Why? Because they can give the impression that because now, even if you don't agree with it, it's at least considered socially acceptable pervasively, meaning for the most part, that those who disagree with it would leave it at that. Well, it's just a disagreement. We just don't agree with you on this matter. But if it was voted in, it was voted in. It's not a matter of that. And I'm going to show you why. The education of public, it's not as simple as just saying, well, it was voted in. The education of public opinion being, however, a matter of such grave import to the common good, the state shall endeavour to ensure that organs of public opinion, such as, listen now, the radio, the press, the cinema, that's all media, while preserving their rightful liberty of expression. They have the rightful liberty of expression. Nobody's trying to deny them that. Including criticism of government policy. They're even able to critique it, but it has to be constructively done. And it has to attempt to show every side of public opinion. And not start from, a harmful position and pump out all the energy into that, so that would be promoted rather than actually discussed. And that's what they've been doing. And ignoring how it refers to law, how it's actually in law in the first place, would obviously be then a misrepresentation of the truth before the general public. And then they just pass the book. Well, that's not really our area of expertise. We're not really to do that. We're not lawyers. And then that's what they do. They just pass the book over to somebody else. Oh, well, as though there was no incumbency upon them to not promote things that would be, opposite to the law in their radio station or whatever it may be. But they were testing having the laws changed. But you can't make murder lawful, ever, in a reasonable society. That's dystopian. You can't. It's destructive. It's murder. It's killing. It's barbarism. It's utterly vile and targeting the most vulnerable. Both of them. Young women and their babies in their wombs. It's a hideous act of violence against the most vulnerable in society. While men fatten their bellies, drink beer and watch their TVs. Bellies and tellies. That's what it's all about today. Bellies and tellies. How likely are men to get up today and defend the rights? Oh, but they'll say, oh no, it's the woman's body. But, whoa, you're talking about the woman. My body, my choice. Well, why are you killing your baby then? You're not harming your own body to the same extent as you're harming the baby's body. My body, my choice. That's utter hypocrisy and nonsense. The education of public opinion being, however, a matter of such grave import to the common good, the state shall endeavour to ensure that organs of public opinion, such as the radio, the press, the cinema, while preserving their rightful liberty of expression. Nobody's trying to remove that. But there are, and there is, a standard. There are standards, and there is a standard overall governing how they go about giving their opinion in an unbiased manner, and not subtly designed or cleverly designed to promote one thing using subliminality. While preserving the manipulation of psychological thinking trajectory, while preserving their rightful liberty of expression, including criticism of government policy, shall not be used to determine public order. To undermine. Shall not be used to undermine public order. Do you think that suddenly trying to make something appear lawful that is highly unlawful and is basic to public order? Because killing the baby in the womb kills the public. Undermine public order or morality. It's not moral to kill the baby in the womb. That's not morally good. Not at all. The life of the creature is the blood therein, the Bible says. But Ireland clearly and publicly enshrines that in its preamble, that we must refer to the most holy Trinity of the Bible, that we therefore must refer to the Bible to understand what is good morality. It says, in the name of the most holy Trinity, from whom is all authority, and to whom, as our final end, all actions both of men and states must be referred. We must refer to the Bible to know what life is, not pseudo-scientists with pockets full of criminals' money, or being made an offer they can't refuse, so to speak. This or death. Of course, you can refuse that, but the world would call that an offer you can't refuse. We, the people of Era, humbly acknowledging all our obligations to our divine Lord Jesus Christ, who sustained our fathers through centuries of trial. So it goes on to say, shall not be used to undermine public order or morality or the authority of the state. They've done that. With this so-called pro-abortion agenda and the rhetoric preceding a treasonous act of bringing a referendum to remove an imprescriptible right, has clearly been designed to break that that part of the Constitution. Personal rights, 6.1.2. 6.1 I, part 1. The right of the citizens to express freely their convictions and opinions. The state guarantees liberty for the exercise of the following rights, subject to public order and morality. It's not moral to murder. It's not morally good. It's not harmless. It's not promoting of good order in society. The trauma that the woman's body goes through. She may not be able to give birth again or become pregnant again because of damage done to her womb. The trauma of having killed her child in her formative years as a young woman, perhaps regretting that for the rest of her life as she forms her opinions as an adult and her beliefs. And she's cornered by the society in this persuasive use of media to miseducate the masses on such a grand scale. Synagogue of Satan is behind it. And they broke the law to do it on 2 occasions. First, by not conforming to personal rights, Article 46, and And firstly, by failing to comply with Article 46. Sorry, this makes me angry, guys, to see the society in such a state of decay. And bringing a referendum is an act of treason because it betrays the safety of the public. Betrays it. It's an attack, a violent, faceless, cowardly attack on the most vulnerable in society, in the wombs of their mothers. But they'll stand shoulder to shoulder and answer Ireland's call. The only thing they're doing is cutting the grass with their studs. They're not answering Ireland's call. Not at all. And they facelessly, boldly, barefaced, in a barefaced way, break the law, to break the law, to break the law. Knowing that death for treason was removed from the Irish Constitution. So they grow more bold in what they're willing to do. And they put older men up to do it, because they live most of their days already. If there's so many of us doing it, what are they going to do? Put us all in prison? That's why it begins like a greyhound race. Go. Like the front line of an army. Charge! What's happening? Well, they're shooting one, then maybe another, then another, then they have to reload. But by the time they reload, the enemy's upon them. Right, call the referendum. It's an act of treason. It's an act of treason against the Irish people, against the Irish Constitution, against the Irish law. It's not for the Irish people. It's not for the woman. It's not for the baby and the woman. It's not for men. All it does is conceal the immediate negative effects that a man might ensue of having many children with many women to his bank account and maybe his reputation. But it has nothing to do with how it can actually help a woman in life or a man in life. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It doesn't really affect any benefit. The reduction of the population, what's beneficial about that? Well, you've got this, no. That's all about control. Because they don't want to for there to be so many people that they can't control them easily. And if they were to turn around against them, as the corrupt governments that they are, what could they do? What are they doing? Well, largely making human beings less skilled in terms of how they can actually homestead. Like, how many people would be able to go now? They had a little bit of land, some trees around them. Go build a house, make a wood stove, and survive out in the elements with plenty of provision from nature. How many people would know how to butcher and skin? How many people would know what's poisonous to eat and what isn't? How many people would be able to survive in the countryside? That would be a very small number of people. So what do? All they have to do, they can make you can be intelligent and starve to death because you don't know how to survive in the countryside. You could have 10 degrees, a bachelor's, a master's, but still not be able to survive in the countryside for as long as you've got flesh in your bones. Or find a clean source of water. Or clean it. Because you've no way to light a fire. Do you see the point I'm making? So what have they effectively done? They've effectively taken the ability for human beings to survive on their own away from them by de-skilling them in the ways that would make them independent from the state. They've destroyed the family unit, and now they're calling the family to destroy it themselves at the abortion clinic. But we as the people have to say, this is not lawful according to Irish law or any law of a reasonable measure. If the right to life of the unborn was ever acknowledged, and it was, I'll show you. If you go to the amendments, which are before the Constitution in the book, you go to 1983, I think it was, you'll see it says 8th Amendment of the Constitution. Act 1983 acknowledged the right to life of the unborn with due regard to the equal right to life of the mother. That needed no recognition in any reasonable society. It was extant before that. It needed no recognition because murder is murder to anyone at any stage of development. That's why it didn't need any, that's why it wasn't required to be recognized. Do you know that in America, they've made similar facades, they built similar facades as the ones in front of the Irish Constitution? But if you kill a pregnant woman in America, it's considered double homicide. As in a double murder. Why? Because there's a human in her womb. Look at the state of you, Ireland. Look at the state of your nation. Look at the state of you. Giving such excuses as, well, sure, they're going across to England to do it anyway. There's no substance of form to that. What is wrong with you? Have you let the devil that far in? Are you so deceived? It says here, in the name of the most holy Trinity, from whom is all authority, and to whom as our final end all actions both of men and states must be referred. We the people of Era, humbly acknowledging all our obligations to our divine Lord Jesus Christ, who sustained our fathers through centuries of trial, gratefully remembering their heroic and unremitting struggle to regain the rightful independence of our nation, and seeking to promote the common good with due observance of prudence, justice, and charity, so that the dignity and freedom of the individual may be assured, true social order attained, the unity of our country restored, and concord established with other nations, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. How are you referring to the Most High God by slaughtering the baby in the womb? But in what measure are you referring to the Lord of Lords in doing so? By what measure are you referring or submitting to good public order and morality? The education of public opinion, however, a matter of such grave import to the common good, that the state shall endeavour to ensure the organs of public opinion, such as the radio, the press, the cinema, while preserving their rightful liberty of expression, including criticism of government policy, shall not be used to undermine public order or morality or the authority of the state. They have done that. The authority of the state says that the state must protect and preserve human life. So the state are remiss in this. The state have not done what is right by the Irish people in allowing such campaigns as they were delivered to continue to be delivered continually, for a referendum to be drawn up of such a nature that it would lead to the massacre of babies. They broke the law in many ways and have been doing so ever since, continuing to allow babies to be murdered. A matter of such grave import. Why? Look what happened. Your forefathers knew the potential of evil, corrupt criminals. And so they were highlighting the importance of controlling by way of law what they're putting out in the media. Our government failed us. They failed you. They failed your young women. They failed the baby in the womb. They have failed because they're full of the devil. They're full of Freemasons. Freemasons are servants of Satan, Synagogue. They are the ones who build the infrastructures of destruction in the earth. And you can see how they've done it. Well, it's time to expose it. And if you've any sense of preservation or love for your fellow man, remove it. Because the nature, and I say this again, the nature of an imprescriptible right, listen now to this, don't let your demons say that you need a hobnob and a cup of tea now. Listen. It's so important that you listen to this. The imprescriptible right to life of the preborn baby cannot be given away. Specifically referring to the inability to write it out of law. It needs no mention because it's an imprescriptible right. It shouldn't even need to be mentioned in law. But they did mention it in 1983. If you go and you'll see, they did mention it. The Eighth Amendment of the Constitution. It just says that acknowledge the right to life of the unborn. So it pre-existed this amendment. That was a redundant amendment. What did that amendment serve to do? It served to persuade or show people that it needed some mention, that it's something that's open for discussion. All the way back in 1983. See how far ahead they're thinking? And you're thinking, will I have enough money this week to buy my new kicks to go out and meet the girls? And they're trying to form society 50 years in advance. Thinking, well, what are we going to do? Well, that guy's going to resist us. Well, wait till he dies. Who'll resist us after him? Good point. There's not really anybody there. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So that's why they're thinking so far ahead. Because they have to think, when are those who would oppose them, their motions in government, going to be out of the way? An imprescriptible right, one as the right to life, refers to all creatures with blood of a human nature. All human beings with blood have the imprescriptible right to life. It can't be given away. You see the extent to which you have been deceived by the Irish government? And this concerted effort, this front line of Satan's synagogue, you saw it came through the world like the front line, of a cavalry, or the front line of an army. It was designed as a quick march on all fronts. Their heads would be spinning. Boom, 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 and bombard them with this through the media. The media is their form of bombardment. It's their cannons. And a cannon is a weapon that shoots far in front. So they started. Take aim! Check the coordinates. What's the trajectory of this? Where and when is this going to hit? And they're doing it so that they can time when the cannon hits and where it hits. So the cannons are in operation as those front runners are out there in society doing the street theatre. No, I'd be for it now. I would. No, I would. I tell you why. Because I knew this girl that was raped once when she was 13 and she physically wasn't ready to give birth to a baby. So I don't know. I think there are situations when, it should be done. And so, because they're trying to save face as they're moving forward, because they're trying to permeate society, they're trying to do it with reason, with what appears to be rational, with what appears to be reasonable. As though one isolated event should inform the general behavior towards babies in the womb. Rather than it be treated as an isolated event and a rare occurrence, let's change the entirety of how we deal with this situation based upon a very rare instance. Further facilitating the instance of such things as rape. Why? Because now your rape victim can just kill the baby you didn't want in the first place. Are you getting the point? It's criminals catering for themselves and their own evil deeds in society. The general population don't know how evil these people are. They don't. I'm telling you, they're sons of Satan. They're overtaken by his spirit. He's operating in and through them. All glory and honor and praise be to the Most High, who is far above darkness. Jesus Christ the righteous. If you put your faith in him, you can be saved from this evil world. But let us continue to expose the strongholds that are trying to smother and blot out the Irish Constitution that our forefathers enacted to protect us. And it is our duty as men to hand on what is good social order by good guidance to the next generation. But these corrupt witches and wizards try to get into government so that they can stop that. Romans 10:9 says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Blessings, beloved. Don't fear them. Jesus is the provider. If you are a young woman and you're pregnant, you do not have to go to that slaughterhouse. That's your baby in your womb. The government have to aid you with that child. They have to help you financially. They have to. I'm telling you they do. Jehovah Jireh is the one. Jesus is the one who institutes all powers and authorities on this earth. Demons and Satan have to submit to him. And what he has spoken is maintained, I assure you. Fear not those devils. Fear them not. Stand under Jesus Christ the righteous, Jehovah Jireh. He will provide for you and your baby. Fear them not. Blessings. The only expectation on you is to obey your God, Adonai Elohim, the God of the Bible, Jesus Christ the righteous.